All right, we're talking now about things called AI chatbots, and there's one called ChatGPT. And essentially, hang with me on this. AI stands for artificial intelligence, and ChatGPT can apparently generate words like a human being can, to the point where it can answer a question, can write an essay, can write a novel, and create poetry. So we gave it a mission just to write the introduction to this piece. And what I read now is what's been written for me, not by a human producer, flesh and blood, but by this AI chatbot. So here we go. Welcome to the Jeremy Vine Show on BBC Radio 2. I'm Jeremy Vine. Today, that's complete lack of awareness. I mean, I've been here for 40 minutes. Today, we're going to be discussing a topic that's been making waves in the tech world, AI chatbots. There's one called ChatGPT, for example, which is a large language model created by OpenAI that's able to generate human-like text. It's been trained on a massive data set of internet text and can answer questions, write essays, and even create poetry. This is so, to be honest, I'm just going to strike the rest of it because it's so boring. Let's go to Will Guyatt, technology journalist. It's awful, Will. It might be accurate, it's well spelt, but they don't have any sense of us being human.
No, you're hitting the nail on the head slightly. There is an amazing AI professor in the Netherlands. I can't use exactly what he said because it's rude, but he's basically said that ChatGPT is a pub bore on steroids.
I didn't know that.
It's ruder than that. You can Google it and find out what he actually said. But basically what he's saying is it's basically the verbose bore at the end of the table, or somebody in a pub quiz that always thinks they're right. It writes like Wikipedia at the moment, very lengthy and academic. Now, the most important thing, it's not quite there yet. Lots of people are getting very excited about this and suggesting ChatGPT is going to replace our jobs, going to replace people. Some experts are predicting 20% of the workforce may lose their jobs to this. This is designed largely, ChatGPT is largely designed on what's called generative pre-trained transformer free. This was a kind of a language model. It was released in 2020. That's a bit like driving a Morris Minor today, in how quickly these things are moving on. So when they switched ChatGPT to GPT-4, the latest version of the kind of language model, we're going to have even bigger problems because it's going to be slightly less verbose, slightly less open rubbish answers, and it's going to be even closer to what we as human beings would perceive as a human being.
Yeah, and I'm not I'm knocking this cue that it's written, but I'm not knocking the concept, because I can see how a little bit of this and that, and it'll put some idioms in, maybe even put some errors in, and suddenly it does sound like a real person's written it.
And that's the thing. And this is what's so alien to everybody listening to your show right now. This technology has been long rumored for years, the rise of robots taking our jobs. It's not going to be robotic arms or something that looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Terminator. It's going to be computer code that's going to start taking people's jobs. And as these language models, as these chatbots get more and more human input, Jeremy, the better and more realistic they get. Everything you put into this is like you learning or a child learning at school. It's all feedback. It's all stuff that helps improve and shape those language models. And given that all the tech companies are now really hugely investing in their own versions of similar things to ChatGPT, the kind of speed of process here is quite terrifying, and also the lack of visibility to consumers and to society. And this governments are going to wake up to this sort of stuff very soon, because jobs will be lost. But on the opposite side of that, you've got, for example, last year, now there was an engineer at Google who many people suggest may have been slightly unhinged, is the best way to put it. But he suggested that a chatbot model they had this equivalent sentience of an 8-year-old child. And it was scared of being switched off and all sorts of bits and pieces. Now, Google denied that and said they'd had all sorts of HR issues with this member of staff, et cetera, and they got lost. But the challenge you face here now is this stuff is real. It's coming to take jobs. It's either, depending what way you look at it, it's the worst thing ever for humanity or the best best thing ever, because it means that we'll be freed up to do other things. And that's the bigger question.
I was going to say, when I go onto, I don't know, a website, maybe banking, but, classically something else, like I'm buying some cookies for a friend or something, I will, often when you pause at checkout, this pop-up comes and says, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" And it's inviting me into a conversation. And I've just started to realize there's no human being involved. I will be speaking to a chatbot. Is that right?
You are. There is no human being involved there at all. You are largely speaking to a scripted, almost a piece of code until you break away from stuff that it doesn't understand or needs to give you a different answer, and then it will connect you to a human being. But it's not just that, Jeremy. When you sort of talk about artificial intelligence, lots of people think it's going to be people in lower paid jobs who are going to be impacted. Artificial intelligence is replacing journalists in some places. BuzzFeed, the website, has decided that ChatGPT is their solution to not paying journalists enough. They're going to use ChatGPT to write stories.
Wow.
You've got, in the US, you've got a case going through a court at the moment where an AI chatbot system, a legal chatbot system, slightly different to ChatGPT, is actually going to try and win a case. Journalists have been replaced, like I said, presenters. You've been on the radio and television now for so long, Jeremy. We could take audio of you through these systems, and you could be retired next year, but you could still be live on the radio. Well, it wouldn't be somebody doing an impersonation of you anymore.
Yeah.
It would be yourself.
Well, yeah, Lewis McLeod does a pretty good impression of me. I mean, yes, it would, but it wouldn't make any mistakes, and then people would know it wasn't me. And
but your point is true, Jeremy. Start programming those mistakes in, and those human frailties and failures, and it makes it even harder to confuse these things. The issue, like I said, going back to what that Dutch scientist said, it's like currently ChatGPT is like a pub bore on steroids. You can see that this is almost like an A-level student trying to fake something by copying and pasting a Wikipedia story. But that hasn't stopped everybody getting really paranoid about ChatGPT. It's been banned now as a tool in New York schools. Other schools in the UK are saying this is the end of homework. Some of that is a bit of an overreaction right now, but Model 4 of ChatGPT, or let's say Google released something which they've been working on which is more advanced than this, or another company do the same thing, that's when the problems really start, when it will be impossible to tell the difference.
Thanks so much, Will. As always, Will Guyatt, technology journalist, talking about the computer programs that can put words together to the point where they could even write a poem. Now, we asked this chatbot, this ChatGPT, to write a sonnet, which, as you'll know, is a poem with a particular kind of line length and rhyming. It's not particularly straightforward. And we said, can you write a sonnet about this show? We didn't tell it what to write. It's obviously gone Googling around to find out more. And this is the sonnet written by a computer.
Oh, Jeremy Vine Show on BBC Radio 2. Thy voice doth fill the air with wit and charm, discoursing on the news and all that's true. Thy guests doth bring a wealth of knowledge warm. Thy listeners doth tune in from far and wide to hear thy wisdom and thy gentle tone. Thy show doth guide us through the news with pride and leave us feeling like we're not alone. But, alas, thy show doth come to an end, and we are left to wait until the next. Thy guests doth leave us with a newfound friend, and we are filled with knowledge and respect. So here's to thee, O Jeremy Vine Show. Thy voice doth bring us joy and knowledge, though.
I think we're safe. Carol King, the great Carol. It's too late. Jeremy Vine here, talking about it is me. It's not some AI imposter. I mean, this whole thing is unnerving, isn't it? So they've got these chatbots, and they basically can make conversation. Can't sit in front of you, but they can do it online, and they can write a story. They can write an essay. You can say, write about Shakespeare's marriage, and you get 16,000 words at the click of a button. They can even write a poem. What happens if they write a play? Robert, not your real name. You work in theatre, I understand.
Yes, I do, Jeremy.
And are you starting to think that we're going to get, I don't know, just shows done without humans?
Well, we already are. I mean, look at the ABBA Avatar show. I mean, there's obviously quite a big human element to that. But there you're watching a band that's been, hasn't toured for, 30 years, and it's selling out a 3,500-seater venue in East London. It's a massive success. And, if you can't go and see ABBA, you've got the next best thing. So these shows are already here amongst us.
It's a good point. I admit I did go to see that the other day, and I came out and said to a friend, I can't believe they didn't play Money, Money, Money. And the friend said, the show changes every night, Jeremy. Get with it. It's not the same show.
They've got enough hits for a second show as well, Jeremy. But
that's true. But you're worried about what plays and stuff being avatars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the industry's sort of live industry is a bit like where the music business was in, say, the early 90s. There's sort of signs that there's something big on the horizon, but very few people are really fully computing what impact it will have. And the music industry took 25 years to recover from it, and in many ways it hasn't fully recovered. So I think AI and virtual reality experiences, avatar shows, are going to do for the live experience what the internet did to the music business.
Well, weirdly, I had to review a comedy the other day on ITV, and I don't know if you've seen this, but basically they use very famous people. They put them into sketches. So and I don't even know if they've got their permission, but you put Kim Kardashian into a sketch as a traffic warden.
Yeah.
And it's all done inside a computer. Idris Elba's upset because Kim Kardashian has done something to his garden. And I'm watching. I mean, it didn't make me laugh. That was the thing. But that's the issue, isn't it? The computer can't make us laugh.
Oh, I think that it will, and we won't care who's making us laugh. I think it's coming, yeah. I mean, that sonnet you read, okay, it might not fool many people, but they're getting better and better. They're certainly coming for my industry. I'm discouraging my kids from going into it. I think it's a disastrous industry to be trying to start out in. If you're a pop star, young pop star trying to get going, you're now up against ABBA, who, have not toured for 40 years, but you've got to try and persuade people not to buy a ticket to ABBA, but to come and see you. How can you compete with that?
You're right, and pretty soon they'll do Elvis like that, and they'll do,
Absolutely.
Goodness knows what. Thank you, Robert. It's a bit depressing, but thank you so much. Callum Langridge emails, artificial intelligence only needs to be stopped in regards to genetic editing. This would be allowing the replication and printing of an organism to be outsourced to a third party. Allowing an exterior entity to take charge of it would be suicide for all DNA-based life. I don't understand that. Are you talking about with Jurassic Park, aren't we? Is that what we're worried about? But then I saw just on the news the other day, the stuff you hear on the news now, you think, have I woken up in a dream? They said they're bringing the dodo back to life. Lisa in Essex, good afternoon.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm well. Now, I gather you can get AI to do your homework.
Well, apparently so. So I've got a 15-year-old boy and a 13-year-old daughter, both currently at senior school. My 15-year-old called me upstairs the other night and he said, Mum, give me a subject to write an essay on. He said, I can write it on anything. He said, so I said, do something about the solar system. And he put it in. He went, how many words? I said, 200 words. And you can literally put in how many words you want it to be. And then my daughter used it at the weekend for her homework. I had said, look, this is really wrong. They're a bit lazy at times, but this is really wrong. When it comes to an exam, this is not going to be helping you when you're sitting in the piece of paper in front of you. But it wrote some essay about the book she's reading at school in 200 words. And then I said, but it sounds really grown up. This doesn't sound like you, Charlotte. She said, it's all right. I can correct this, Mummy. She put in the style of a 13-year-old.
You're joking.
And then and it can even change, like the grammar. It can put some... She said, look, there's a couple of grammar mistakes in there now, Mum, so they'll just think it was me. So
unbelievable. That's incredible. That's amazing. So you can actually make it forced errors, basically, in it.
Yep, you can ask it to put some grammatical errors in. You can ask it to be in the style of a 13-year-old's writing, a 15-year-old's writing.
Oh.
It's shocking. I mean,
and the key thing is the teacher's got to be able to spot it, haven't they? So I don't know. I don't know how they spot it.
Well, I've got parents' evening next week, so I think I might be mentioning it to our English teacher because I think it's a thing going around the school at the moment. All the kids are using it. So
this is mad. This is mad. Thank you, Lisa, very much indeed. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Join me, Nisha Paris, as I take you to church. Welcome Welcome to a brand new series of Misha's Gospel Gold, where I'll be bringing you more of the best gospel music to lift the spirit, soothe the soul, raise the roof, and get you on your feet. Oh my goodness, I love that woman. This week, I'm dedicating the program to the great women of gospel music.
This is Misha's Gospel Gold.
I'll have incredible performances from the most revered artists. Listen now on BBC Sounds.
So I feel bad because we're going to play ABBA in a second, and now they've been accused of, by avatars destroying new bands. Nadia is in Cambridge. What do you think, Nadia?
Oh, hi, Jeremy. Well, that Carole King song said it all.
Absolutely. A computer can't do that.
Well, it's frightening. I mean, like I said in my text, I'm a human, get me out of here.
So, well, yeah, but the difference is this. The computer wrote the sonnet and it was really boring. The Carole King song was written by herself and it was incredible, even now, 40, 50 years on. I mean, the computer can't do that, can it?
No, and also, with regard to teachers, you know how good your pupils are. So you can tell if they haven't written it or not because you just look at what they do in class. The human element has to be involved.
Are you in Cambridge because you're studying in Cambridge or teaching?
No,
or?
I did study in Cambridge, and then I was a teacher in Cambridge, and then I set a business up.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's why I was here.
And is your business in any way threatened by chatbots and all that?
Well, yes, it would have been. I've retired now from it, but yes, everything is. It's just frightening. It's just frightening. I just don't know what it's going to be like for the future for our kids because what will they be doing? They don't have to. Machines do it. I mean, I saw a robot the other day in Cambridge delivering something. I thought, oh my God.
Well, as we know, nothing is more dangerous than a human behind the wheel of a vehicle.
True.
So,
well, in your case,
I'll trust the robot. Thank you, Nadia. Bless you. Take care.
You.
Bye.
Bye.